to talk a little bit about that. I do not think we've ever had an election with candidates who understand freedom so differently. For Donald Trump and his cronies, freedom means that the powerful can do whatever they please. That's his definition of freedom. I want to fire workers for trying to organize a union. I should be free to do so. You know, they want the freedom to throw out votes if they lose an election. They want to control what women can and can't do to their bodies. In other words, for Trump, freedom is getting away with stuff. And it's like he said in the middle of the pandemic, when he said, I do not take any responsibility at all. I'm not sure any American president has ever uttered those words other than Donald Trump. I do not take any. People were dying. Hospitals overrun. I do not take any responsibility at all. That's his idea of freedom. I do what I want, and I'm not responsible for anything. We have a broader idea of freedom. We believe in the freedom to provide for our families if we're willing to work. The freedom to breathe clean air and drink clean water. The freedom to send our kids to school without worrying if they'll come home safely. We believe that true freedom gives each of us the right to make decisions about our own lives, how we worship, who we marry, what our family looks like. And we also believe that freedom requires us to recognize that other people have the freedom to make different choices. And it doesn't make them bad people. It doesn't make them evil people. It doesn't make them enemies of the state. I mean, I listen to some of the language that's being thrown around. Look, even on the most contentious issues, I've always said there are good people of conscience on both sides of the abortion divide. And I respect anybody whose faith tells them that it's not something that they would do, that they support. But if we believe in freedom, then we should at least agree that such a deeply personal decision should be made by the woman whose body is involved, not by politicians. And it's been fascinating to watch Donald Trump just try to tie himself into a pretzel on this issue, because he sees that what his party has been doing is unpopular. And so when he ran for president the first time, he said he would support punishing women who got an abortion. Punishing women. Then a couple weeks ago, he tells women he'll be their, quote, protector. I will tell you how he protected you, quote unquote. He handpicked 3 of the Supreme Court justices who overturned Roe versus Wade. He bragged about it. And now there are Trump abortion bans in 20 states, many of them with no exceptions for rape and incest. And he's out there saying, well, you know, everyone wanted it this way. Really? Donald Trump may be confused, but let's be clear about what's at stake here. If you send Ruben Gallego to the Senate, he'll vote to restore the reproductive freedom that women had for nearly 50 years. And if Congress passes that bill, Kamala Harris will sign it into law. Because they understand freedom is about being able to make the right choice for ourselves and our families. And here in Arizona, you don't even have to wait. Abortion's actually on the ballot right here. You have a chance to vote yes on Prop 139 and put women, not politicians, back in control of their personal medical decisions. It's an example of how, at the end of the day, this election, it's not just about policies. It's not just about plans or concepts of a plan. It's about values. It's about who we are, how we treat each other, the example we want to set for our children and their children. It's about character. Some of you know that when I was growing up, I didn't have a father in the house. But I was lucky enough to have people around me. A stepfather for a time, my grandparents, teachers, coaches, and most of all, my mom, who taught me the difference between right and wrong, who showed me what it meant to have integrity and to be honest and to be responsible and to work hard and to treat other people the way I wanted them to treat me. And I suspect most of you grew up the same way. And I wasn't perfect right off the bat. And sometimes I didn't live up to those values, and I made mistakes. And I tried to learn from them. And then as I got older, I continued to benefit from people who reinforced those values. And obviously my wife, Michelle, was one of those people. She's still trying to make me a little bit better. But it wasn't just Michelle. It was also friends and coworkers and neighbors and even political opponents, people on the other side of the aisle.